I'm really excited to see like how much he gets done on the Earth Spirit here. I think overall there's going to be like I mean, it really depends on what they decide to pick for the 3, right? Like you said, there's a couple heroes that we normally see that's been completely untouched that could give him the space to kind of rotate and just kind of leave solo in the lane. But um, what are your expectations for the off lane here? I mean, obviously, like you said, the Tidehunter is still available, but with Moon on the Earth Spirit, I think he wants to try and make those rotations a lot over to the mid lane if possible.
When it'd be ideal if you get that sort of self-sufficient offlaner. We might see the Pit Ward coming out for Undying. Is it's again fantastic versus the Puck. The Root is so annoying versus the Mirana. It sort of gives that secondary vision game where you're able to see those Moonlight Shadowed heroes. And it's just someone you can leave alone. Earth Spirit can make the rotations for that 4 minute, for that 6 minute rune that we see is so important when you have those spirits on your team. Witch Doctor? Tiny. Okay.
Okay.
And I mean, that could be that's the strength of Tiny is it's such a flexible hero. You could really put him anywhere. He could still be a 4. That's something that we only really see the South American teams do. You could definitely see him mid again. And we're gonna go Enigma.
I love it.
Okay.
So it is going to be the 3 Enigma. This is something that, you know, we just see over and over again. And it is pretty solid with the Earth Spirit because it does give Earth Spirit time to roam and mainly just contest the poles because Earth Spirit is an incredibly strong hero, right? At contesting the poles against this Enigma, who's just going to be constantly pulling that lane equilibrium back. And the response from the 5 is basically to be like, all right, well, we need to fix this and pull these creep waves back in our favor. Based on the draft we see now from SG, is it safe to say this is 5 Puck mid Tiny?
I'll be honest. I think so. I think that's exactly what they need to go for because all of the other lane situations they really don't feel great. If this is let's say a 4 Tiny, a mid Mirana, and we have seen them play, especially with 40R. We've seen him take this Mirana mid, but I feel like it's got to be the 5 Puck. It just feels a little bit too weird if you swap your lanes up too much, and then if that's the case, Beastmaster is really going to get heavily contested if it's a 4 Tiny. So it's got to be a 4 Mirana, 3 Beastmaster. But again, Enigma, you have the Abaddon already, so this Beastmaster Roar isn't going to be able to get too much done. It's still an adept counter to the Black Hole, but as soon as you see this Rubik taken out, then you don't want to pick Tidehunter, you don't want to pick Tide into the Enigma. This Enigma pick just feels so good for Undying right now.
It does. It really does. I mean, you have to wonder, you know, once you have BKB on this Enigma, your only real option is going to be Axe Coil or Beastmaster Roar. So it makes it pretty easy for the Enigma here, going into late game, like basically just guaranteeing he's going to get a solid black hole.
Well, and again, you do have the Hawk, so you will be able to scout out and get a lot of vision game done. But
True.
if Undying hit their timings, we saw yesterday when you hit that timing on Pentace where you had that Necro 3 at like, what, 15 minutes? You were just running around the map. Your Necro 3 was your timing, and you just took over so much space. It didn't really matter what the enemy team was doing. And we'll probably see some Eidolons and Beastmaster Menagerie hitting each other a lot in this game, but going into the late game, it's really just up to Moon to really set the pace, as I'm not sure if the Mirana will be able to be that same pacemaker. Perfect bans also from each team. Getting out the Troll, the Naga, the Lycan. Saw yesterday how effective that Lycan is. It's a very scary hero.
Yeah, especially with the Beastmaster, when you get those double Necros and that Wolf running around, plus just how much damage the Beastmaster summons and that aura gives. It's it's one of those things that you can't really afford to give it to a team. Especially if he's against a hero like Enigma in lane, you know that Lycan would basically just free farm. He'd lose some CS, obviously, because of the massive amount of denying that's coming out, but he'll have a decently timed Necro. The Beastmaster and him would just be able to walk tower to tower and take everything away. So you can't give that to a team. It'd be too dang strong. They do have last pick on Undying, though, which is quite nice.
When at this point, both teams, they just need a safe laner, and I feel like it's got to be the 3, the Weaver, Medusa, Gyrocopter. And I think that harkens back to the Lycan ban, where now SG might be a little bit scared of that Gyrocopter, but can't really ban it out at this point. If I'm Undying, I think I want to ban out the Medusa, but again, it's not the worst combination where if he gets the Stone Gaze off, you do just need to immediately disengage, but that might be what SG, that feels like the Costa Bila hero at this point. That's the type of hero he's been playing pretty much the entire tournament. But the Alchemist has also evaded everything. he's still in the pool if either team wants to reach for it.
Yeah, that's true. I think it would be. I think it'd be fine. I think that my gut feeling here is Undying wants to go for the gyrocopter into the Beastmaster. It's just a pretty strong lane, especially when you have the Abaddon behind you. It just seems like you can bully out that Beastmaster pretty easily. But yeah, I would like to see. I think Alchemist has a lot of potential. Against Beastmaster, it's not that bad.
Ban, it harkens back to just, do they just want to pick up Weaver here? And yeah, we'll see the Alch. And with the Bloodseeker ban, it makes me think they just want to slam the Weaver right here, but is Weaver going to be enough versus the Alchemist is the big question, as it feels like all of the best heroes versus that Alchemist are already taken out. We already see the Monkey gone, we already see the Wraith King gone. I feel like it's got to be the Weaver. Is Juggernaut still in the pool? You could run the Jug, but again, it just doesn't feel quite as nice in this game. With 35 seconds, they got to think of something for Mr. Tomato.
Terrorblade. That's a good pick.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's interesting. Now, let me see.
The thing is here, like, oh man, that gem color is beautiful. Tomato, thank you.
Like a lavender purple?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like that lavender, purple, blue, cyan. My favorite color specifically is seafoam green, but that's a whole different story. Let's see though. I think the last pick Terrorblade here is quite good. Alchemist going late game doesn't really contest the Terrorblade, right? Like it's too much damage from the Terrorblade. It has way too much armor. You can itemize to deal with the Alchemist as well. It kind of prevents him from going Radiance on Alch. So there's 10 seconds. I really do like the last pick Terrorblade here quite a bit.
And it's definitely something we haven't seen yet. This is actually Undying's first game picking it. I know Tomato, he loves the hero. It's one of his most played heroes. We'll probably see that once we get in game. And I'm a little bit nervous. If anything, he has an incredibly free lane versus the Mirana. That was one of the early heroes that people were picking versus the Mirana when it became popular, just because you always have that secondary illusion to just stand up in front of the arrow. You never really need to worry about that. But the mid-tiny's going to put a lot of pressure on the map, and if he goes to Tomato's lane, Tomato's not going to be able to farm. He's going to have to leave, and I wonder then if Eschi Esports are going to be able to cover enough ground to get this Alchemist online, and then you might start seeing Eschi pulling apart the map a little bit. At the same time, Tavo also on his signature Beastmaster. It's a tempo lineup, and if they're able to hit their stride, Undying, it's really just dealing with the blows at that point, but they've got a very strong draft. Both teams have incredibly strong drafts.
Yeah. They do. I'm excited. I think there's going to be a lot of kind of back and forth in this game. I think in lanes, I do have to kind of give a little bit of a nod here over to Undying. I think even though like the Alch should have a pretty good time against the Enigma, I think the rest of their lanes are going to be pretty stable. And if Terrorblade's able to come out of the lane stage with a pretty decent net worth, they'll be able to stay mostly on par with the Enigma. Or I'm sorry, with the Alchemist, with the Enigma. Jeez.
Oh, and some pausing. And ETDota.
Yep, classic pause. This is what we know as the stretch time. Everyone likes to get up, stretch it out right before the game. It's also the time to look at cosmetics.
That is true.
My favorite thing to do.
Fortunately, you don't get to see the Terrorblade Arcana too much in action while the game's paused, but it is a beautiful color.
It is. I will be commenting on it multiple times during the game, I'm sure.
Dungeon's Doom.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's apparently.
Dungeon Doom. Interesting. Yeah, I've never seen that one. I mean, there's so many different prismatic gems. Do you have the Terrorblade Arcana? Are you a Terrorblade player?
I've got 2 Terrorblade Arcana.
Okay. Yeah, humble brag. No. So when you get the Terrorblade Arcana, does it come with a default gem or no?
Yeah, it does come.
It comes with that red one.
Yeah, exactly. And then you, of course, you take it out and then you put in your Techie's Arcana, and all hell breaks loose pretty much after that point.
Perfect. I'm sure you're talking from personal experience here.
Oh, definitely. But I've got a green one and a blue one right now. On and off days. I just cycle through them.
I thought you were going to say green and red for Radiant and Dire.
That would be very themed, but Unfortunately, they were both gifted to me, so I've never. I didn't get the choice. I didn't get the choice.
Unlucky, you know, just getting gifted an Arcana. Man, what a shame.
What a shame.
No, I feel you. I don't have a Terrorblade Arcana. I don't think so. I should know this. I have many of them, but Terrorblade's not one. Maybe I'll buy one.
I would love the Legion Commander Arcana, but I guess we'll see about that one if someone else will give me that.
Yeah,
because I have all of the other Legion Commander items, like especially the cash set, the one with the feathers.
Oh, that
and
one's
I'm sure
so
that
good.
looks pretty good. Problem is, when the sets look that good, I don't want to use the Arcana because you're taking a piece off. But
yeah, there's a couple
some
Arcanas
aspects.
that are like really nice Immortal sets where I'm just like, this just looks worse than this other set that was made. That's really cool. That's the fun thing about Dota, right?
Yeah,
right. Oh my gosh.
Jug just has so many items. It's a pain.
Jug really and Axe. Axe is one of those where you're like, well, which one do you use?
Yeah, he's still getting item sets, but I could also just use 6 Immortals. There's just really no winning with Axe, to be honest, at this point.
He's Axe, you know. He doesn't think before he acts. He just gets the items and then realizes the consequences come later. Oh yeah, here it is. There's the.
Yep.
Oh wait a minute. Okay. Well, when you go into spectate, it shows him as red, not purple. Oh well, it's fine.
Gotta love Dota.
Yeah.
But if anything, with Undying's draft, the only thing I'm a little sad about is we will be seeing Saberlight on not as much of an active hero. We will see him playing the more lane winning role, which is fine, but he's just one of those players that usually gets so active that it's a little bit sad to see him placed on one of these heroes. But again, we're going to see the black holes. We're going to see him have those effects. And we've seen Enigma versus Alchemist and how scary it can be for the Alchemist, where even if you've got your heart, you've got your Sanj, you could still very easily die to the Enigma if he catches you off guard.
Easy boar kill. Bopped right there by Moon. Gets himself an easy 30 gold, 30 experience.
You see, they actually swap sides. They just want to dominate the spot lane. And you see, Tomato's actually laning bottom.
Yeah.
Do they want to go into... They want the Enigma versus the Beastmaster lane, it looks like. No Boris.
It looks like Tavo and them see this, so Tavo immediately running bottom, and we can see the Alchemist already running mid, or running through mid to top. A ward will scout this, though. So the question is, will Undying respond? And it looks like they will. Tomato starting to rotate back to the top lane, and Saberlight just denies the ranged mid creep and walks towards bottom. We're going to see the classic lane swaps happening over and over again here. Now that they see the Enigma, they may decide to swap again, or they'll just stay in the lane. It's hard to say.
They might be happy with this.
Yeah, they immediately TP the Alk.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it begins. Did you ever see the game where Eternal Envy spent like the first 6 minutes of the game just lane swapping back and forth?
You're kidding me. I have that game. That game's in infamy with me. I've watched that replay in like post. It was versus Na'Vi.
Yeah.
That was back when Na'Vi still had Dendi, and it was like the most disgusting thing I've ever seen ever. I was like almost appalled by it. Couldn't believe what I was seeing, and they lost in like 14 minutes or something. It was like the saddest game ever.
There might have been another one I'm thinking of where he was playing Ursa, and at some point there were 4 heroes in the bottom river just fighting over a creep wave because they didn't know what lane to go to. It was good stuff.
I vividly remember it because he was Juggernaut, and he kept on swapping his lane, and he kept on making Snake King swap his lane with him. They were trying to like avoid a Quap versus DK matchup the entire laning phase, and it just ended up that Snake King was like level 4 while Resolution was a level 8 Luna or something. It was the saddest thing ever, and then they just called GG after 14 minutes.
I love it.
It was a TI too or something. It was Dream League. It was not a tournament you want to be just thrown away, but it's the Eternal Envy sometimes.
We've got top lane going pretty great for Saberlight here. He might be able to take Tavo down, but the boar, it's there. Oh, he's just getting kited out. They're playing with his food. First blood goes to Tavo's boar there. You know, this was the problem with running the 3 heroes bottom initially. I mean, if Moon's up here, Tavo is definitely dead. There's no doubt in my mind, but as a result, a little bit greedy trying to punish the Alchemist. They get that first blood top lane.
And he was able to sit and get a little bit more XP as well. And I think he had him, to be honest. Saberite might have been able to kill him if he just committed for that, but he got scared once the Mirana started clicking him. And now you've lost lane control. You're going to get Tavo that level 2 boar very easily. Is this going to feel pretty good for Tavo?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always demonic conversion the boar, right? But then you're not denying the creeps in your wave, and you're not pulling that equilibrium back. So you kind of have to make the hard decision there. And it looks like he's still going to be going for the range creep deny.
And that's exactly what Tavo's going to look for. And he will be able to get a few boars here and there. But like you said, then Tavo's still getting XP, and you're kind of not using your Enigma the way you want it to be going. And you can always kind of scout out for him with the Core. You can always look for him. When Tavo gets left alone, though, that's when he does need to be a little bit afraid of Moon Meander. And that's really the mirror matchup we're going to see. It's just Mirana versus Earth Spirit, who's able to get more done. And yeah, they're going top.
Indeed, Tavo in some trouble. The Malefice, one more tick left, but there's not going to be enough follow-up damage. It is going to be pushing him out, though, which is really nice. Bottom lane, Dubu just attacking Puck over and over again with that Curse of Avernus Orb of Venom slow. Tomato's meta has finally expired, so he can't zone Costabile out as much. Terrorblade into the Alk is not bad, right? You have 13 armor, so the -4, 5, 6, 7 armor that comes from Acid Spray isn't as value against this hero as it is against other conventional offlaners.
When we're also seeing him pull away in the CS as Costabile, it's really difficult for an Alk to hit up against a Tomato, as he just has so much more agi, so much more base damage, and this is what KJ needs to do. He just needs to constantly pull. And at the runes, we might see a battle, 40R.
He's gonna get it.
Gets unlucky.
He tried. He definitely tried. Just gonna force the TP. Wow, that is a very unfortunate situation to be in now as the Tiny, because when you come back to lane, Brile is gonna be very close to level 6 with an arcane rune, and we may see him rotate out of lane, or he could potentially just dive the Tiny.
And it's really unfortunate. And just the fact that Dubu is just so effective whenever he plays support. And even though he's sort of displaced, he's not able to play in that top lane, do the same thing he could be doing for Tomato. He's completely fine with keeping this a 1v1, as it's just Costabile constantly pushing the wave in. And Tomato's got absolute free farm under the tower. There's no way to pressure this TB. And whenever he's done with the spot lane, yeah, he just gets to go to the triangle after. He just gets to farm this, do whatever he wants. Maybe Costabile will be able to bully Dubu off this bounty rune, but even then you're going 50-50, and Tomato is just happy as a clam.
Yeah, he is having a great time. CS-wise, 27 and 10. Yeah, I mean, you do get 2 of the runes still on Undying, so at the end of the day, you're not upset really at all. You do have Brile about to be level 6 here. Nice Avatos from 40R for some harassment. If he gets this creep, you should have the experience here, but I don't think he wants to go for the Tiny. We'll probably see Brile make a rotation soon for that 6-minute rune, and see if he gets lucky on that one as well.
And if anything, it's a little bit unfortunate. Sometimes we see that with the 5-minute tick, when it is nighttime, they just hide in the trees. They don't show anywhere. And if lanes are pushing in, you do get that very easy rotation. But all of the lanes are sort of shoved into the SG side of the map. So it's hard for any easy rotation. But He'll take the farm. He'll just farm it up.
Yeah, makes sense. Dubu's done so good at just keeping KJ away from this Terrorblade, and now that meta is back up, Tomato can just shove this wave in with the catapult, and Costabile has no way to stop this.
And this is what I was a little bit worried about when we see this Puck picked up and sort of displaces. There's no really good hero to lane versus this Abaddon. If anything, he's had free reign to do pretty much whatever he wants this game, and I think we did see Core. Yeah, they just send him bottom to kill the cart, to try and kill the push, but
Brile's here as well, though, and I don't believe they've seen him. He's hiding on the other side of the tree line. Oh, wait, you know what? They did see him with the ward up here, so they should know that this is happening. There is a deep ward by Dubu scouting behind the tower, but they are playing very defensive. And rightfully so, right? They don't see the Void Spirit.
And this ward is just barely out of the sentry range. Oh, well, a free. Perfectly done from Brile.
No. Oh, in top lane? Is that a double kill? Okay, hold on. Well, everyone's dying all over the map.
Yeah, Sabra and Tavo, and this is the issue, is Tavo just gets completely left alone whenever they have to rotate that Mirana down there. They have to TP the Mirana down there. And you have 3 heroes soaking Costabile's XP, so his 6 gets delayed. He finally has it now, but even though you lose Moon, I think you're very happy with what's going on in the map.
Yeah. You get the bottle refill mid onto Bryle. You gotta love it. And I think they're going to try and play aggressive. Yeah, they're pinging around mid. Nice leap to dodge. Moon with the kick. The question is, does he continue the chase with that last earn charge? Looks like he's content just letting the boys work on that middle tower. They do have fortification available if they want to keep this alive. Someone's going to have to rotate over to try and slow this down.
They want to kill Saberlight.
Yeah, they're picking him out really bad. Now, the question is, can he get a black hole off? He's 40 mana away, and in comes Moon. All right, he gets mangoed. There's going to be the black hole. What a play by Moon. The question is, there's no other damage. And Tiny, he's just going to turn out with an avalanche and a tree toss. Finds that kill, and now Moon's got to run away. But there's the roar from Tavo. He gets level 6. Double kill for 40R.
Just barely had enough XP to get the roar off after the kill. That's so tight neck, and there really wasn't anyone to make the rotation. I believe Void Spirit Pro was just getting a rune. He didn't really think he'd need to make that rotation, and while they got good pressure, it's really unfortunate they weren't able to turn any of those spells into kills.
Yeah, not having Midnight Pulse makes it kind of difficult. I think his Necro units like expired, and he only had the 3 Eidolons out at a time, so there just wasn't enough extra damage from the Enigma summons to really bring down that Tiny. And he is pretty tanky with 10 armor as well, so not the easiest thing to do.
They might look to make a dive here with the Core.
Tavo is just getting slapped by these summons, though. He has to completely
you have to be careful. You have to be really careful. And that's sort of the matchup. Oh, 40R is going to reveal himself.
Yeah, he just clears the wave. I think they just want to be able to apply pressure here. Nice sentry drop to just make sure there's no ward behind that tower. But 40R, again, I mean, you got to respect the amount of damage that these Eidolons will do. This is level 4 conversion. Bryle, he TPs in knowing that they don't have vision of him, and with Duba rotating in as well, Tanks and Arrow falling incredibly low. Starstorm will be able to finish him off, but you lose in the Tiny in the process. A great win, and a haste rune. He's going to continue the chase potentially. He's just going to look for a boar, I guess.
Just a very good response. While 40R, he spent so much time top, Brow just gets to rotate at his leisure and still pulling a little bit ahead in XP, I think. Oh, he's on par with the Tiny, but able to get plays done elsewhere. And at the same time, Tomato claims that bot tower, and he's just farming. He's just very happy. I believe he has his Yasha now, and he's keeping up very... Yeah, he's ahead of the Alk right now.
Yeah. He's been ahead of the Alk for a while, and that's one of those things where we said, you know, if Terrorblade comes out of the lane... Oh, and he finds a Jelly. All right, you gotta love to see,
Possessed Mask.
Yeah, Jelly Possessed Mask. This Terrorblade is having the best time of his life. Top lane, Saberlight getting a taste of his own medicine as the Necro book from Tavo finally comes out. A roar to finish off that kill. And Thelacor just arrows the melee Necro.
And it always feels pretty sad. It's even better if you get the ranged one, just because that's the one that gives you that very nice push aura. At the same time, all of the pressure's top. They want to get this off lane, or rather the safe lane's tower at this point. This is the rotation we typically see, but Undying, they just want to keep on fighting up here, as it's just time for Tomato. No heroes in that bottom wave.
40R, the avalanche, the toss, a lot of damage onto Dubu, but it's not all quite there as the TPs come in. A nice coil. Moon rotating in as well as the Enigma. The black hole not available for 25 seconds, but they're looking for 40R. Magnetize is out. The question is, can they continue the chase? Double Astral Step in. Nice Remnant into the Dissimulate. The Magnetize now bouncing between 4. The Avalanche, the toss, though, it takes down Bryle. Moon will eventually help bring him down, but it's a costly fight here.
They're just not able to really leverage Saberlight's
Black Hole's coming, though.
Yeah, he has Black Hole now, and they might decide to respect that, but... Again, these aren't the trades you want to be making, but you got the Tiny, you did trade Brow for it, but Tomato's farming. That is the bright side. At the same time, Alchemist is farming. He did finish up his Battle Fury, but you want to be happy. If you're getting equal farm on the Terrorblade, you're going to be able to make those rotations eventually, and that's when SG need to really be careful, because they haven't gained an objective yet. They've really been struggling to get this top tower, and Undying are really making them work for it.
Yeah, and this is a huge tower to hold, right? This is... If they lose this tower, it gives Alk the entire ability to farm this top half of the map, right? Along with his Ancients. So it makes a lot of sense that they're trying so hard to protect this.
when we see once the pressure finally gives away top, they decide it's not worth it. Probably with the black hole coming off cooldown, they try and smoke and they're looking for a tomato, but I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to find him. It's sort of a hard grab.
They don't have blink yet on 40R. That's smoke. They're going for the long wraparound. Okay, he's
they
actually
edge him with the arrow.
Yeah, he got him. Just saw him just barely. There's going to be avalanche. The arrow, it doesn't actually connect though, and Tomato's able to dodge it out. His arrow was soaked by a illusion, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Yeah. And Moon, nice dive in the mid lane, able to take down KJ in the process. And then there's more damage being applied to this tier 1 tower. Top lane, Tavo might finally get this pesky tower, but they will for the moment.
And if anything, it's the Necro 2's just the power of Beastmaster where he's finally able to put the pressure on. But they've already rotated around. They've really made the call already. 40R is 20 gold away from his Blink Dagger, and then SG will be able to make more of these diving plays, but not getting that kill on Tomato really hurts because now he has his Mantis Style and 20 gold. Once he gets that, then he's really going to explode in the farm department. And while your Alk is definitely gaining speed, you got to be a little bit concerned because you can do things with this Terrorblade. You can do things with this meta, and we might see Tomato finally get active on the map.
They got the Manta. He's going for that Iascati top lane. The roar comes out onto Dubu. He's barely not level 6, but he's gonna survive. Oh, that's a cooldown you don't want to lose for nothing. Philocor, however, is scouting him out. There is a dust, though. They find him. Oh, man. They were actually looking for the Beastmaster, and instead they'll take the Mirana.
Didn't even scan it. That's just a game sense thing right there.
Yeah.
Just perfectly played.
They saw the Moonlight Shadow come out, and were like, all right, maybe he's roaming back down into the jungle, and they throw a random dust and end up finding him.
Oh, Dubu. I think he saved the skill point. He got it off the combo. I think he might be dead mid though.
He's just making space, right? This is a space play for sure. He was just going for the rune.
Yeah, he's just trying to get the rune from 40R, and if anything, with Brow, he's going this much greedier Void Spirit build. He's going immediately for the Ags, and once he gets it, oh, mid.
All right, they're chased, but nice arrow comes out. 40R able to do what he can to keep himself alive, but Saberlight, he's just going to go for the 2-man black hole. Absolutely. Catching the Mirana on the side. The follow-up damage is there. They're TPing in more heroes. Tomato's got meta. They don't even need to commit it for the... Okay, they will commit it for the tower. This is just a fantastic rotation from them into the mid lane. Great patience on Saberlight to wait for that illusion rune before going for the Malefice.
Just perfect clipping the Mirana as well on the low ground. I believe he cast on the low ground and just got the perfect pull. And you pop this, you're able to walk over to the bounty runes, and it feels like you're going to get 4. Oh, they scanned him out on Tavo.
Oh, he's in trouble. He's all alone, getting surrounded. Saberlight taking a lot of damage from these summons, though. He just dies 100-0. Tavo, however, will fall in the process. And comes Coast Billy. Nice 2-man stun. The avalanche, the toss, the blink. Doing some work. They get 2 more, and Dubu, the only survivor. You just lost all 3 cores for that Beastmaster.
Oh no, Dubu.
And Dubu, no way to survive with borrowed time already being committed. You can't escape that coil. And they'll take down the 4th.
What a jump from 40R. That was a perfect punishment coming out, and they just didn't have enough sight. They have this one ward that they placed there, but they didn't see the high ground vision up here. They weren't able to see the heroes TPing in. They thought it was just going to be a free kill on Tavo, but Moonmeander left very early. I'm surprised he did that. I know he didn't have his ultimate, but oh no, they're starting to get a lot of kills here.
Yeah, they're going to... Ooh, Moon, is he out? The Kobe? Yeah, he's out. Ooh. They do Moonlight Shadow on over to the mid lane, though, and they're pinging out this high ground. Alk, he's got a blink. He's looking for Saberlight. He's going to be able to toss that concoction with the 40R and a beautiful pickoff, and immediately, like, hey, they have vision up here, by the way. The classic get ganked, realize there's ward. Dubu mid lane also in trouble. I mean, they've just done such a good job at 5-manning here after this, you know, fight in the top lane. Like, they are incredibly strong. The level 3 Necro is out. You got that Blink Dagger from 40R, and Costa Bile has a Blink Dagger as well. So they're just going in.
And this is a different Alk than I think we've seen yet this tournament. He didn't really greed out for that Sanjin Yasha. He's not delaying his timings, and he's playing perfectly with this Blink Dagger. They're just double blinking pretty much everyone down on Undying, and if that's one thing that they're bad at, they're very cooldown reliant. When you don't have meta, when you don't have Black Hole, that threat really isn't there, and SG are kind of walking all over them right now.
And they fake back and smoke up in the bottom jungle. They were looking like they were going to head towards Terrorblade, but a little bit of a waste of their time as I think they just realized like we can just kill people we see over and over again, and they do see Moon going for the D ward. Without that vision on the high ground, makes it a little bit more difficult, but Bryle just barely out of vision for now. Well, they do catch
Moon.
KJ on the puck. A nice silence from Moon. Remnant Dissimulate, a great combination, and he's going to take out there to that Astral Step.
Just a little bit disconnected, but you do have to be a little bit careful with SG. You want to keep on having these successful rotations, as every time you misplay, Moon.
You got arrow, but the save from Dubu, and comes a Magnetize, and Tomato, he's here with this huge damage from this Terrorblade. D-Core up on the high ground. They will be able to continue the chase. Bryle is here. Remnant in just a couple seconds. No leaps for 15. I think they can get this.
He's got Remnant.
He's got to get the Remnant. Yep, there it is. Well played by Bryle. Double kill.
And that is all pre-Ags. He just got it delivered. He didn't have it up until that point. And you can't be giving this away if you're SG. Once you're in, you're in. You're not very mobile on all of your heroes, except, I guess, for the puck. And once this Tiny isn't able to burst anyone, that was the strength of the Abaddon there. Even though Moon got arrowed, he immediately got a Photic shielded. He got all of his spells off, and the turn happened so fast.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Moon's, I mean, he's tanky. He's got a casual cloak. He also has the Nether Shawl, and he's going for the Spirit Vessel. So, I mean, this is at 1600 health, Earth Spirit, 10 armor, who's also sitting on 52% magic resist. So, it's not an easy kill for this Tiny at any stage of the game.
Well, they're just going right into Roche with this BKB on Costa Bile, but do they know about it on Undying?
They're smoked up on the top side of the Roche pit. They're kind of drawing a line, so if they walk by Roche and it reveals, like, maybe they'll have that knowledge. KJ trying his best to scout it out, but Undying's oblivious. They have no clue.
Oh, wow. They're just cutting a little bit too high. I think the Eidolons are finally making their way.
Figuring it out. You don't have a blink on the Enigma, though. Moonlight Shadow, yeah, they're just going to give it up. They know it's too little, too late.
And you didn't have meta, you didn't have that tool available to you, but still that feels really bad to give away, as now Costa Bile can just be the front line. He could be the one to instigate these tower pushes, and then SG are going to find the easy jumps off of that. And I think they're just going to continue to run at the map.
Yeah, they need to get this top tier 1 tower for this. Like, they know they're going to push tier 2 mid. They actually smoke up. They're drawing a line on over. Dubu just sitting on the triangle here, waiting for this bounty rune, and he might get punished for it since there is a ward placed up here on the high ground.
What's so smart as well, splitting up on SG. Costa Bile wants to stay bottom for the bounty runes, punish any hero that's there, so he asks KJ to stay with him, because if they find the TB, those are the heroes they need to kill him. But well, Moon mid
lane, the roar comes out, the concoction, slapped down by the Alchemist. A lot of damage. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Roar is a pretty easy pick-off for them if they can get it. A nice DD rune they're going to be found by the Alchemist as well, as he's closing in on that AC.
Top? Interesting stuff.
They did get the tower, right? That's what that's an objective they really wanted to get. It helps them out a lot as far as controlling that Radiant Triangle. Like, you don't really have entrance to the triangle. We saw how badly that fight backfired previously just because they could TP into that tower.
When it gives them options, they finally have another place to smoke to that isn't this bottom jungle. They've had this ward up here for quite a while to see the rotations, but literally no one from SG has been there in quite a long time. Everybody's just been playing so aggressively on the map on SG's side, and with the full AC completed, Costa Bile is starting to become that monster Alk that we know all too well.
You do have the Eye of Scotty picked up on the Terrorblade here. Moon, again, just taking so much damage from these Eidolons, but he'll be fine. Oh, they find Costa Bile.
Oh.
KJ just gets a 2-man coil, and again, Dubu's here just to save the day. They're starting to back away. The Avalanche, the toss, the magic damage. It's a lot, but he immediately sunders 40R. They're turning around. The question is, can they get more? Moon on the side. He's looking for KJ. He has a silence. He's going to catch him. The boulder kick perfectly timed. And now with Tomato rotating in, a couple auto attacks is all you need.
Oh, it's just too easy for Moon. But it's very strange. SG, they just went a little bit too ham. I don't think they realized that they already snapped the coil twice. They really just dove in without any...
He's gonna find Tavo. Saberlight has Black Hole as well, even if they if they decide to use it, and they might. The Alchemist is here, the Solar Crest, or the Spirit Vessel rather, just beating him down, and you're underneath this Tomato Terrorblade. This Alchemist taking so much damage, and Saberlight's ready. He's like, it's my time, guys. I've trained all day for this. An immediate Black Hole. You got no Chemical Rage. They will be able to sign him off. He gets the BKB off Terrorblade. Can he survive Tomato? He needs to get in place, but Thelacore with the body blocks. What a sick play. And now the Avalanche, the toss, the buybacks paying off big from KJ. He's able to interrupt that Black Hole and turn that fight around.
They just immediately turn it. Again, they do. It's very similar to what happened top. They got these crazy picks. They were able to burst on the Tiny, but he simply respawns and finds the punishment. I'm surprised they dove that hard. And while you do have the turn on a Costa Bula with the Black Hole, he was able to get the BKB Chem Rage off. He had it. It wasn't on cooldown, and I don't think they realized just how much HP this Alchemist actually had.
Dude just eats a random arrow. I mean, he's got borrowed time. He'll be fine here. But that was pretty funny. He was just kind of walking up and walks right into an arrow. This ward here is so value. It just never gets dewarded. Same one on the Radiant jungle, right? There's that one there and this one here. Those two wards I feel like are incredibly value. Bro, mid lane. They caught KJ once again. Yeah, Spirit Vessel on the mark. Nice Avalanche there to try and interrupt it. Abaddon will go down. Prowl, Astral steps away. Moon trying to do what he can. The Magnetize bouncing around. Still has Spirit Vessel charges. Gonna keep it going, but perfect block on the Rolling Boulder. The Alchemist. The Illusions just beating him down. The Roar onto the Void Spirit. Avalanche toss. They do get it.
And Brow's just sitting around so close to these fights looking for a go, but again, you don't have meta for another 15 seconds. Tomato doesn't want to show up no matter what, and you're just bodies paving the way, and SG are just taking everything they can. Still, Moon's able to find these silences on Puck. It's pretty sick, but again, Dubu, he's the health, he's the regen, he's the hero that's saving you a lot of these times, and for him to just get burst at the beginning of these fights, it's really the disaster that's getting spelled out for them. He needs to be alive for SG to have a rough time for the initiation. We see them get punished whenever he is able to get those shields off, but he's got to be so careful with his positioning.
I mean, the funny thing about that is it actually all started with the arrow here, right? Putting borrowed time on cooldown, and Alk realizes it, just goes right in, targets the Abaddon immediately. Moon's going in. This guy, no chill at all. Nice silence there. The Spirit Vessel as well. Going to continue the roll, try and stun up this Beastmaster. Nice Remnant. Looks like they do have the burst damage here to finish him off. A good catch there from Undying. I mean, they have a lot of reach.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they have over SG. They're a lot more mobile. They're a lot more able to get in and out of these fights, and that's a much bigger catch than KJ before, so there won't be really any punishment. And that's why they smoke up immediately, but I'm not sure if
they were right under the ward. They smoked right under that Radiant ward, and they get the DD at least bottled here on the Terrorblade, but I mean, SG Esports know exactly what is going on here.
If anything, Moon needs to be very careful. They're just so bounty rune oriented on SG. They're just looking for him constantly, and
there's your Abyssal.
Nothing you can do.
This ward has paid so many dividends, especially considering this entire tree line has just been cut down. So it sees everything in this triangle.
I'm not even sure what... I guess it's the axes that cut it. And
yeah,
maybe they should make the call that it's there after seeing it cut like that. But you're right. It's just been providing so much information. And well, they're getting the split push going. And they are trading sort of poorly right now, tower-wise. I think they're going to be able to defend this tower. And you have to be careful if you're Undying. You don't want to fight here, even though you have good vision.
You got the BKB coming out on Terrorblade with a bottled double damage rune. I mean, this is like the best possible time you can fight on Undying. You got that Blink Black Hole available. I mean, if they catch SG Esports out of position, it could be disastrous.
I'm looking around. There is one more smoke on KJ, but everything, it's going back to the pit. They want to keep posted up in this area. They want to stay near it. And with this DD, I mean,
he just walks right up. Tomato's here. He hasn't popped the DD or the BKB yet. He's just kind of zoning him out. Finally, the double damage comes out, but they just walk away. There's no follow-up damage.
What are they able to get out of this where you were forced to use your meta? Do you get the top T2 tower? Are you happy with it at this point? Because now you're on the timer. You have to make something happen with this metamorphosis. And you already see Costa Bula. He's just going to push in the bottom lane, if anything. I feel like you have to at least prod the high ground, but this feels like a really wasted meta so far.
I mean, maybe you can threaten tier 2 mid slightly, but it's such a difficult tower to take right now. And so we'll see what they decide to do. I mean, that meta is almost expired. Ooh, 40R. He's getting chased by Moon. He's going to go in immediately. The dust is available, and he will pop it. Magnetize coming out soon, I'm sure. Yep, and they'll be able to just burst down this tiny so fast. The meta does expire simultaneously, but they get a good pickoff. And depending on when Roshan respawns, this could be huge. See in just a matter of seconds. Oh, it's such a long respawn.
Long.
It's 2.5 minutes.
Respawn.
2 minutes 45 seconds. Yeah.
When I'm surprised, Tavo actually has the Ag Shard on Beastmaster. He was able to clip that rotation. He was at least able to clip Tomato right-clicking his Hawk. And instead, he still gets caught on 40R, but that's going to happen. Until he gets his BKB, there's nothing he can really do versus the Void Spirit Silence. But once you get BKB on Enigma, I think this game gets quite scary for SG. Then it's, again, it goes back to the initiation. Who's able to find who first? Oh, breaking on Dubu's not the best.
Not at all. You've got to be pretty upset about that one. They also step up to the high ground, and it doesn't look like they're going to get much out of this. Again, though, it is trying to reestablish map control, though, for the Roche, right? And both teams trying to keep their eyes on it, know that this is such a big objective coming up.
On Kosta Bile with the Swift Blink, he does so much damage now if he is able to get on those backlines. Even Bryle, I'm sure he could just kill with his Abyssal Blade concoction at this point. And that's why they want to fight. They want to find something. Is now you're at the point, you're at the apex of Alchemist, where he really is the strongest hero on the map. But Tomato has kept up. Once he gets this butterfly, then I think the matchup flips on its head. We already see how scared Kosta Bile is to fight directly into that Scotty. And we're going to see them abuse meta coming into this sort of mid to late game. But it's strange to say that as it's only 30 minutes into this game, but all these items are already there for both sides.
There's some pretty big item pickups here from the jungle. I mean, Terrorblade gets a Paladin Sword. You end up getting the Psychic Headband on Enigma, so that extra 100 cast range for Black Hole is amazing. I mean, the original cast range is terrible. Oh, mid lane, they are going to jump on Dubu. That's not the target you really want to focus. Arrow ends up stunning him down, but it's 40R on the backside, who may be the one suffering. Coil does come out, holding him in place. Ryle, can he do anything? Tomato pops them out. There's going to be an immediate roar. They will be able to bring down that Earth Spirit, but they're just walking away. It's just Delacor and Tavo here that are left, and they don't have the catch, not without the Earth Spirit.
And it's just perfect from SG. They know exactly who to target. They take him out. They force out meta again. And Tomato, you have to feel, you got to be beating yourself up, because now Roshan's respawning in 30 seconds. They need to get kills.
Oh, they're going in. Brow with a huge silence, catching on to 3. They get Kosta Bile's BKB. The Black Hole immediately with the Terrorblade. He's going to just bring him down. No problem. Now Delacor in for a beating as well. Bryle now chasing on to KJ here. Do they have the follow-up damage? Astral Step is available, but he makes it back to the base. No buyback on the Alk. ET, this is the worst case scenario. Roshan's
respawning as one. They have a courier in there as well. They're going to scout it. And another DD rune. I don't know if they're going to see it. They're going to see it when they want to go to the pit. And this is just a free rush for Undying. It's flipped. The matchup has gone on its head. It's just a perfect black hole from Saberlight. Able to block any chance for Delacor to be able to break it with all those Necro creeps. And Undying, they're taking this one. It feels like they're in such a good spot now.
Yeah, this is the dream scenario, right? You get that big kill onto the Alk. You're going to be able to just turn into a free Roshan. You get the cheese, which will likely end up being on Bryle, but now it's been so difficult for them to deal with this Terrorblade this whole game. He's 1, 2, and 7. Like, he doesn't have the most, impactful score, but he does do a ton of damage in these fights if he's left alone. And with that new BKB, you can kind of see right there in that fight, how that works out.
When in that previous fight, it's also just 40R. He was one component away from his BKB. They smoked again a little bit too early, trying to push the envelope. And while Moon trades his life, Undying were so fast with that follow-up smoke, just going immediately into them. And they made use of their meta. They were able to get it. It timed out right after they killed that mid T2. And getting Roche on top of it, it's got to feel pretty bad if you're SG now. I mean, the gold lead is just dipped so low.
Yeah, I mean, at one point you were 13,000 ahead. And you are now just about 4K as an advantage. And realistically, we talked about this in draft. Terrorblade going late game has no problem with the Alchemist. Mid lane, they're looking for Dubu once again. I mean, this just isn't the target. However, the Abyssal Blade is going to catch Moon, save for a moment, trying to get away, but he also finds the Enigma with an arrow. A huge win for them, and they take down Void Spirit with the coil in the mid lane. Now Dubu trying to do what he can. It's just an ultra kill for the Alf.
What a monster jump, and that was the reveal. That was the BKB on 40R, where he was finally able to get in and stay in, whereas previously he would just get silenced up and broken down. But that was it a concoction? How did Kusabila get the Enigma? That was just wild.
It might have been concoction or arrow. I couldn't see which one it was, but yeah, he got full duration stunned there. Arrow definitely stunned one of those two heroes.
It's just very unfortunate. As now you have this Aegis, you have meta, and you don't want to pop it defensively, but with 3 heroes dead, no buyback. He does a buyback on Bryle, but I don't think you want to use it. I think you might just want to give up this Rax.
It's going to be so difficult. They're tossed back. They've caught Moon. That's going to be the first dieback, and meta does get used 40R. He's trying to get forced down to the low ground. He will be successful, but yeah, the meta's going to be wasted.
And these forcing plays you need to be very cautious of, is now you don't have Moon for 60 seconds. Do you want to smoke up without him at this point? With the BKBs up, I don't think you can, and you're going to be put on the sideline a little bit. That was just a really big fight for SG to put this game back in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they almost get the range or the melee barracks. It was incredibly close, but again, they at least get the meta. So you have this 2-minute window now of Terrorblade, you know, not being as strong, and the Aegis times out just 30 seconds after that. So they're definitely on a slim window here for Undying to get some stuff done. Now, question for you. Tomato going to late game, he's itemizing for a Daedalus. How do you feel about an Aghanim Scepter? Because I feel like this game specifically, they need something to stop these like hard initiations from SG, and Terrorwave might be the answer, especially if you're trying to protect the black hole.
When I'm surprised for such a TB specialist as Tomato is, it really is a fantastic game for it, and that's what you would be popping. You wouldn't be popping meta for the counter initiation. You'd simply be using the wave, the terror call. I don't even know what this spell is.
Yeah, it's called Terror Wave.
Terror Wave, you'd be popping that instead, and you have meta for what, 18 seconds, and you're able to make something happen and fight and push them back. Whereas instead, every single time,
Tomato's here, but he's going to be able to get right on top of this Alchemist. He's stunned for the time being. The black hole just catches him. Oh no, they get the 2 most important heroes. They were not ready. The BKB comes out from Tavo. He's getting body blocked. There's no way to stop that TP out. Okay, you know, going up with that Moonlight Shadow, that smoke, but you walk right into a Ward Sentry.
It just feels so strange as Theolacore, both the people who could stop Black Hole at this point, you can't stop it with the BKB, but Tavo was in the mid lane. He was so far away, there was no chance of him stopping it. And again, you don't have BKB or buyback on the Alchemist. Tomato might just hit up.
Yeah, I mean, he will. He's got that. Ooh, we're getting a little bit of a pause here. He does have that meta in about 20 seconds. And like we said, that Aegis expiring in about 50. So you have this half-a-minute window once he picks this up of being able to do some serious work. And with the top tower gone here, the top tier 2, they might just go for 2 lanes.
And even though the buybacks are coming out, the only thing that could stop this push is if Bryle dies or if Moon Meander dies. Any other hero stays alive, and I feel like this push isn't stopping. If anything, it's going to be up to Dubu to take the blows, save whoever's going to get Avatossed. And with these aphotic shields, you have to be really scared, because there's also the threat of Tomato just sundering whoever gets gone on. If they do dive that deep on Bryle, they're very single target. They don't have the AoE control that Undying really do. They have AoE control. They're able to focus on more than one hero. And this push, I mean, the glyph is out, but I don't think there's any chance of them backing with meta coming up in 20.
Oh, not at all. There's no way for them to burst down Tomato, right? Like, even to get his first life of the Aegis here, I mean, he's completely safe. If you throw Roar, Arrow, Avatoss, you know, everything at him, he might go down, but you still have Dubu behind him to try and keep him alive. So it's such like a high risk, low reward play for SG Esports, right?
With 2 buybacks gone as well, you don't even want to make that play, because if you die on Tiny, they're just going to stay here. They're going to look for T4s, not just going to look for Megas.
There it is, the toss back into Sunder. That is exactly what we're afraid of, and they get the dieback. I mean, it's again, you're trying to make this play, but no. What do you do?
And again, Tavo's just slightly too far. He doesn't want to go in. He knows the boundary. He knows what's going to happen if he does try to go in, and they're just perfect positioning right now. Their positioning suffered a little bit when they walked over to this top racks, but again,
They're gonna
without
back.
respawning, maybe they respect it without Aegis, but they've got dataless meta. They're just gonna stay.
No, yeah, you're right. They are. They're. It is a little bit risky to stay here, but without 40R's Tiny, a lot of the burst damage against Tomato is definitely gone. The only people that really need to be afraid are going to be Moon on this back line and the Alchemist like Blink Abyssaling them. Dubu eats an arrow. Okay, well that's borrowed time. That's pretty big. But they will get the barracks here potentially with just these illusions. Tomato. Oh, the force tap. It doesn't break the coil. An incredibly good try there from KJ, but Tomato's going to be fine.
And even Costa Bile, he actually pops his Chem Rage as if he wanted to go in, but he stuns himself, and you didn't have to use meta, which is massive. There was no forcing play from SG with their Tiny Dead, and now Undying, they're in such a good position. SG are the ones in the hot seat. They need to make another crazy play happen where they can kill Saberlight at the beginning of these fights, because now with Black Hole, it feels like there's no pressure. Tomato's becoming the new monster, and he's got an Abyssal Blade queued up next, and then Costa Bile is not getting out. He's going to be stuck in the middle of these fights forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the Abyssal Blade, I think, is a great answer to having that additional form of lockdown and gap close on Terrorblade. It's one of the reasons I really like the Aghanim Scepter build, because you typically pair it with things like Swift Blink. But in this game, he's just tanking up, becoming very difficult for them to kill. And it makes sense. They've really struggled to deal with the Terrorblade this game, and now that he is 29,000, almost 30,000 net worth, just slightly behind an Alchemist, 37 minutes into the game, I mean, this is like the dream.
And that's something, maybe in this game, Tomato, he just wanted to leverage every ounce of gold he was getting, as that is the matchup you're playing against when you're versus the Alchemist. It's who can use their gold more efficiently, and picking up an Illusionist cape as well.
Yeah.
It feels so nice. Oh, goodness.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a pretty good jungle item for Terrorblades.
And now, I think I was going to say he's switching up for the Satanic on Tomato, and it makes sense, especially if you want to get this Metamorphosis attack range, which we see most TBs want to get, just because Costa Bile can't walk up. There's going to be, what, 1,000 range where Costa Bile is going to be right-clicked afar from, and the siege is just going to happen. It's an inevitability, and there's another DD rune scouted. I feel like Tomato's had a DD rune at every single important fight in this game.
Yeah, I feel like 4 of the last like 6, or probably like 3 of the last 6 runes have all been DDs.
It's the luck of the draw, the power runes, and just so important with map control. And I bring it up every single time we see these Storm Spirits, these Void Spirits, and even leveraging it with the TB, where it just matters so much. You're just always able to scout the river, see what's going on, and usually we see it flipped when you have the Beastmaster on the other side, but Undying through blood, sweat, and tears have just kept the map under their control.
The problem I think here is you have this scenario where, you know, 40R's Tiny just doesn't have the impact anymore, right? Like you have this mid lane Void Spirit who has an Aeon Disc, this big AoE silence, great escape and damage, whereas 40R is kind of like a one and done hero. He goes in for an Avatos, and if it doesn't kill someone, you kind of just pop BKB and walk away, right? And you're kind of now relying on your Mirana to be this like pseudo carry for your team, and she definitely doesn't have the damage either.
And that's the issue sort of as a whole with the draft, where even KJ, he wants to get this Aghanim Scepter. That's the Puck's second very strong timing, but there's no gold. There's no farm pretty much anywhere. And while Costa Bile is now farming up for that Divine Rapier, that's definitely a big time to turn. It feels like their big timing has sort of been missed out on it. We really saw them dominating whenever we had that double blink early on with Costa Bile and 40R, but again, it goes back to that slightly bad smoke right before 40R's BKB, where Undying were really able to get a lot of ground covered and take that Aegis, and maybe 40R can play the split push game, but
Saberlight's found 40R. He's just gonna go for the black hole immediately onto the Tiny, stuck inside the Midnight Pulse, but is a follow-up there. He's gonna pop the BKB himself and TP out. Yeah, that's all you need to do sometimes, just TP.
It's a little bit awkward. He didn't have his Necro Creeps or anything to turn into Eidolons. Otherwise, I think that Tiny is dead as a doornail. But now not having Black Hole with Roshan respawning in a minute, they will have it, what, 40 seconds once Rosh is finally alive. But Divine on Costa Bile, he's the hero to watch out for. If he dies at all, I mean, the game is just over, more or less, at that point. There isn't really a great hero for them to translate that Divine Rapier over to, and without buyback, now they're on a knife's edge. This is SG's swan song.
Yeah, I mean, they go ahead and position themselves here on the high ground. You do have that Trickster's Cloak giving a second form of invisibility now for the Allen because he has that Silver Edge. But again, they're just going to keep their eyes on this Roshan. 45 seconds away. Saberlight's Black Hole 85 seconds away. So you have quite the window here if you're SG. And Undying really need to prevent them from going into the pit until then.
Well, and you look at the itemization on Undying. They have 3 Aeon Discs, an Abaddon, and a Satanic on Terrorblade.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Who do you kill? I don't know who you kill.
The
SG
Abaddon.
almost need to... Yeah, but he's Abaddon.
Yeah.
It feels so bad where SG, they don't really have a solid target. You see Tomato's just standing in the pit. He knows that's the only reason for him to come out.
They end up barely missing on 40 yard. He just jumps up, going for the Marana, the Roar. It will do some work, but Saberlight without the BKB. Tomato's just standing his ground with this Satanic beating down Tiny. The coil does come out. No. KJ will fall, and it is just a disaster. You lose everything. And they are not done. The Yules holding Tavo in place. It's a double kill for Brawl. He just disconnects without even saying GG. Oh, they did say GG. Why didn't I see it? Weird.
It was the Alchemist. As soon as he died and lost the Divine Rapier, he just called it. He just knew it. It was out. It was lights out. And it goes back. Undying just had so much time. It really felt like SG, they missed their timing by maybe a minute, where everything just went down for him. The second Roche respawned, Undying were able to claim it. And after that point, it felt so difficult. Everything from the itemization to the black holes from Saberlight. Even though it was every time we see this Enigma, it's a very patient Enigma, but Saberlight came out to play, and every single black hole felt like a turning point for Undying.
Typical carry contribution of 3, 2, and 11. Exactly what you like to see out of your Terrorblade, who has a casual 41,000 net worth thanks to the donation of the Divine Rapier to end it out. But yeah, I mean, you were right. I mean, this is like a typical out game where you don't have the late game matchup and you miss that timing. And Undying exploit that weakness and take game number 1 here convincingly against SG Esports.
And it was one of those lineups where SG, we see it almost reversed every single time, where SG, they need to win so many fights to win the game versus Undying, where Undying, they win 1-2 fights, and it's just a mountain of net worth, a mountain of gold just surmounting, and it was just too much for them. Broke their backs.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. So that's going to be game 1 here in this upper bracket, best of 3. So we'll be back after just a short break for Undying versus SG Esports. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll see you in just a moment.